Okay, let's take a look at where we left off last time. When I press play, you can see I have my idle animation going, but when I push the arrow keys, I don't get any walk movement. And one other thing is inside of our, we created an animation graph as well in the last video, and then we set up this blend space in a previous one. We connected it. If our idle to walk goes to 100, and I compile that, you can see our character's walking. If it goes at half speed, which would be 50%, he'll walk a little lower, and then 0, my robot will idle. So let's go ahead and create a variable that we can make public that will drive this value. So if I go into variables here, and I want to create a float variable, I'll just call this, I don't know, idle to walk. And I'm going to just drag this in, and I'm going to get idle to walk, and I'm going to wire it right into here. And now you can see if we update this variable here, this idle to walk variable, and the way we can make it public is by checking this ion, and you can see instance is editable. So now what we can do is whatever we edit this variable, it'll feed into here. So for instance, see here is our idle to walk value. So if I type 100 in here, you can see we're walking. If I type in 50, I can type in 0. And this also can be exposed in our event graph. Now, let me make sure I compile and save this. So back in our event graph here, by default, it gave me this, but if you're missing it, you can just right click and type in try get pawn owner. And the short of it is this allows us to get the owner of whatever this animation graph is connected to, which is robot 245 BP. So, and I actually have, when I was sort of demoing this earlier, I added an idle to walk variable because I thought about making, switching it up to work on that 4D blend space, but until we create those animations, it really doesn't make sense. So we're just gonna work on this. So let's compile and save this. All right, so what I'd like to do is essentially just get the velocity. So think about that as the 0 to 100 value, like the velocity of our character moving. And then I want to get the length of that vector, and I'm going to plug it right into let's see, get vector length. Let's see, we'll just do vector length. And I'm going to plug that right into this idle to walk variable, which is plugged into here. So if I drag this into here and I get that, oh, you know what? I want to set that value to the length of our variable. So I'm going to wire this into here. And because I want this to fire off, let me kind of get this a little closer. With that blueprint and animation, I'm going to do connected here. And I think that's pretty good. So let's test it to see if this works. So I'm going to go into our level 01 complete. I'm going to press play. And now when I push forward, you can see we're walking. If I walk backwards, our character is idling. So I'm walking left and right, up and down. So this is a really simple way of getting your character to walk around. I'm going to probably fiddle with the camera a little bit more. So let's see, here's our robot 245 blueprint. And that's really just playing with these spring arm values. Like I'm going to go as far as 1,000 because our character is pretty large. And I really want to, yeah, that looks a little bit better. So this is kind of like a cooler view for me. We haven't gotten to the game design component of this. Like, well, how do you design a level or how do you design a room or things like that? So for now, we're just looking at building basic mechanics, sort of like what a technical artist would do, which is, you know, hooking up animations, creating the characters, things like that. Though this is a short video, it's part of obviously a larger series, right? Where we got to this point where we idled and rigged and all this stuff. So, yeah, so that's it for this video. And in the next one, we'll continue to expand on our game prototype.